Good morning, class. Welcome to Unit 4 Software Testing. This is the last chapter of Section 1. The things what we are going to see under the title Software Testing. The first part we will focus on testing fundamentals. Second, ways to perform the testing. Formally it is known as black box testing and white box testing. And one more thing is there, which is a combination of black box and white box, known as gray box testing. That will be our second point. Third point, we will focus on testing process, means whatever the things we are going to do as a part of a testing, how this will be taken care from start to end, named as a software testing life cycle. But here in short we will call it as simply testing process. And the last point we are going to cover is what are the different types of testing. So as per ISTQB, that is International Software Testing Quality Board, there are so many different types of a testing they said, but out of that we are going to cover almost 7 different types of testing. So what are the 7 different types of a testing? One is system testing, second is load testing, third is stress testing, fourth is different levels of testing. That different levels further divided into the parts like integration testing, unit testing, user acceptance testing. And means what the things we covered so far means type of a testing. First is the system testing, second is load testing, third is stress testing, fourth is levels of testing, fifth is regression testing. There is a difference, regression testing and retesting. So retesting is not part of your syllabus, but we will discuss in upcoming part. So regression testing, next is sanity testing, and the last part we are going to cover is smoke testing. So that's the simplest syllabus for your chapter number 4, that is software testing. So let's start with the first part. So what is mean by a testing? As the name suggests, testing. What are the things we are going to cover? The term called as one testing. So testing is nothing but simple process where we will execute the program, and the reason behind executing the program is to find out is any problem there or not. So in short we can say testing is an activity conducted by a person called as a tester, and the purpose behind the performing testing is to find out all possible problems. Now let's focus on one important point here, the problems. The outcome of the testing is what? The problems. That problem further divided into different types, known as error, fault, failure. Sometimes it is known as bug or defect also. So all the things are together, or there is a different meaning. In short we can say that if we go with the dictionary meaning for all the error, bug, defect, fault, failure is somewhat same, but the way we are going to find, or at the what stage of the product development life cycle we find out it, according to that we have a different types that we will see. But let me clear the first thing. What is a testing? Testing is an activity which has to carried out to find out an problems, find out an error, find out some defects, find out some bugs from the software which is under development. Means the software which is under development means it is done by the developers. Before going the product from developer to the user, it is given to a person called as what? Tester. And the responsibility of that tester is to find out maximum possible defects from the product, from the software. So we call it as what? Testing. So basic idea behind the testing, or the testing fundamental, is what we can say. It is a process of executing a program with an intention to find out an errors. So tester will given a code by a developer. Tester will run the code by giving input, by performing various combinations to check whether the program behaves or gives an output as expected or not. If it is as per expected, there is no error. If it is beyond the expectations, means it will be plus or minus. It will be treated as a problem, and that problem has to report back to the development for the correctness. And if it is corrected, it will be given to an user. So tester plays an important role. So it shows the tester performs an activity called as what? Testing. And testing can show the presence of bugs but never their absence. What is the thing need to highlight here is what 100% testing is not possible, but being as a tester they will try to find out maximum possible errors, defects, bugs from the product itself before going to the handover product to the end users. So are you clear with the first line, testing fundamentals? Second, we are talking, as I rightly said, testers are basically responsible to find out the problems, and that problems are further classified as error, fault, failures, defect, or sometimes referred as a bugs also. So let's understand each one of them. Error. What do you mean by error? It is nothing but difference between actual output of the software and the correct output. Here correct means expected output. So you got a program, for example you are working in a C program, and the C program is to perform the addition of the two numbers. So you give the input 3, you give the input as a 5, and you executed the program. After the execution, expected result is 8. But just imagine, you got the first time you got the result as a 7. Second time when you execute, you got the result as a 9. So both answers are wrong, which is not as per the expected. We call it as what? Error. The program is having an error. Is it clear? Okay. Fault. Next is fault. Fault means what? It is a condition that causes the system to fail in performing its required function. It is called as what? Or it is sometimes referred as an bug, or sometimes referred as a defect also. So fault, bug and defect, these three things are same. So what I am talking, fault. Fault means nothing but a condition that causes the system to fail in performing its required function. We called as what? Fault. Let's take a simple example to understand the term fault. Is you are trying to withdraw some amount from your account by using an ATM card, and when you swap your ATM card, you got a message that your card is not in a reading position. So we call it as what? This might be because your card is physically damaged, or due to continuous usage its numbers are gone out of the use. So it is called as what? Fault. It is a condition which is not allowing you to fulfill your purpose. Means the card is, if that card is little bit bent, it is not get detected by the system. It means it is in a fault, that the card what you are using is now in a fault. It is known as a bug, defect. Is it clear? Next is a failure. It is nothing but inability of a system to perform required function according to its specification. So systems are developed there, and that systems are not performing their task as per expected. We will call it as what? The system is in failure. So the reason to bring the system in failure is maybe because of fault, maybe because of bug, or maybe because of defect. So I hope you are clear with the terms error, fault and failure. This fault is known as bug and defect. Is it clear? Okay. Now moving towards the next part we are going to cover is test oracle. So let's start with the next part. Test oracle. Now what is meaning of test oracle? If you look towards the diagram is saying that three things as an input part and fourth as an comparator. So let's focus on the first diagram. Test case. First part is test case, second is software under testing, third is test oracle, and fourth is their comparator, and output you are getting as a result of the testing. So software under testing is compared with the test oracle by performing a test cases. So let me clear the first thing. Test case is nothing but simply a one document which help us to the testers to perform the testing related activities. So test case is one document which completely talks about what to do, how to do, when to do, to complete about the entire testing life cycle. It is called as test cases. So software which is under tester is going to get tested absolutely as per the guidelines provided by the test cases. Now to perform this, we need to understand some database for the input and to know whether the what we are doing is correct or not. These all the things are get mentioned in one scenario called as what? Test oracle. So what is test oracle? It is nothing but it is used to check the correctness of output of the program for test cases. So in test cases everything is mentioned and actual results are available of the test case, expected rather we can say, as a part of test oracle, and the product which is under testing gives some result. That results are known as actual results. That actual results and expected results available in the test oracles are compared by the third part called as what? Comparator. If both the same, means expected and actual results both are same, test cases pass. If there is a variation, test case is failed. So that is what result of the testing. So simply remember, testing is a process in which test cases are given to the test oracle and the program software which is under testing. So output of these two is compared to determine if the program behave correct for the given test case or not. So as rightly I said, you have a program in C to perform the addition of the two numbers, and that is the program software under testing. And how you are going to test is written in the test case, so that I will execute the program and I will give the input. So in test oracle, result is 8. They have preserved the result. Expected result is, means actual result is 8. Now you will execute the program by giving the input 3 and 5 as an input, and you will observe your result after performing or after running the program. What result you got? Suppose first you got the result 7, second attempt you got the result as a 9. So first 7 will be compared with 8. If both are same, no. So the test case is fail. Second, your result is 9, expected is 8, available in test oracle. 8 and 9 again compared, which is wrong. So test case result is failed. That will be the responsibility of the comparators. And if it is the 8, expected 8, actual 8, test case is false. So we call this process as a test oracle. Are you clear with my example? Okay, good. Now we will move to the next part called as what? Test cases and test criteria. Now what is the test cases? Test cases are such that successful execution of the program that implies there are no errors in the program, or program means the software which is under testing. So while selecting test case, primary objective is to ensure that if there is an error in the program, it is exercised by one of the test cases. If there is no error in the program, then test cases is succeed. So succeed means successful. Both the results entered means expected result and actual results are same. So for test cases, test selection criteria can be used, where different criteria should be there depending on type of a project, depending on type of test cases. So two properties for testing criteria is reliability and its validity. So what does this criteria is talking about? Is reliable, means criteria is reliable if all the test cases satisfy the criteria, detect exactly same error. So means we will call there is a reliability. And criteria is valid if for any error in the program there is some set which are satisfying the criteria, we will call it the validity. So again, if you go through the diagram parts, test case, we are talking about the test case and their criteria. So this test case is nothing but simply remember the document which talks about how the testing should be get carried out. Means testing means the might be manual testing or automation testing. If I'm going to perform the manual testing, what will be the steps? If I'm going to perform an automation testing, what are the different tools I'm going to use? What will be the scenario of the tools? Everything is described in this test case. And this test case should be, what I am saying, should be clear to know what will be the output of the test scenario. And for that I am saying that, so select the test cases, we must have some criteria. And what is that criteria? One is test criteria must be reliable and must be valid. And reliable means if all the test cases satisfy the criteria, it should detect exactly same error. And second criteria, validity, I am saying that criteria is valid if for any error in the program there is some set which are satisfying the criteria. We are calling it as one answer. Are you clear? Okay, so what are the things we have covered so far? We have covered what is testing, then we have covered the different outputs in terms of error, fault, defect, bug and failure of the testing. Then we have talked about test oracles and test cases with their criteria. Now we are going to focus on the next bit, that is second part of the chapter, called as what? Different types of testing. So what are the different types of testing? As we says, there are black box testing, there is white box testing, and sometimes combination of black and white box testing. So let's focus on the second part, called as what? Black box testing. As the name suggests, black box means what is inside you don't know. You will just simply give the input and you will observe the output. We will call it as one black box. Getting what I am saying? It is a one type of a testing, and this structure of a program is not considered while doing the testing. Means here we need to focus on the structure. Structure means inside part. So what is inside the box? You just imagine you got a box and that box is fully packed, fully covered by a black color. So what is inside that box? You may not be knowing. Now your job is to just give the input and observe the output, whether you are getting expected outcome or not. That simple type of a testing we are calling black box. So simply is what we can say in technical language. In the software written in some programming language, you no need to worry about the programming language. Software has a certain part of a data for the interface. You no need to worry about the interface. Your job is just to simply find out how the software behaves. So it is sometimes referred as a behavioral testing also, or sometimes it is referred as a functional testing, whether your system is performing expected parts, expected functions, expected operations or not. That only the part will be get decided as a part of black box testing. So tester gives input to the system and only see the output of the system without knowing how the system will produce the output. I am not bothered about at all the parts. My job as a tester, black box tester, is just to give the input and observe the output. So it is also known as a functional or behavioral. Functional means operations. So simply remember, it is also known as functional or behavioral testing. It is deciding the test case in functional testing is a requirement of specification of the system or the modules, and this entire black box testing is get carried out depending on the number of functions that system is having. Suppose for example I am talking about the scenario in ATM application. So that ATM performs different types of an application. So what are the different types of applications that ATM? Suppose ATM performs the different types of applications like withdraw. It supports the scenario like balance check. It suppose the operations like after performing, are you interested to go for the next? Means what are the functions that ATM machine supports? That ATM functions you are going to test, we will call as a black box testing. Now simply what are the different ways to perform the black box testing? So this black box testing can be performed in simply three styles. First as a equivalence class partition, second as a boundary value analysis, and third as a cause effect graphing. So simply remember three techniques: equivalence class partition, second is boundary value analysis, and third is cause effect graphing. So let's understand the first. So I'll take the same example. Suppose in our class 80 students, 70 to 80 students present right now, and I'm teaching something since last more than half an hour with you. So I just want to test whether you are getting it or not. So what I can do, I can go to individual and I'll ask whether yes, stand up, whether you got it or not. It means I need to interact with each and everyone. It is possible, but practically it will take a lot of time. So what I can do, rather than going to an individual, what I will do, I will divide the simple class into the 4 lines. Line 1 means simply column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So we will call this process as dividing the entire input into different parts. Means I am preparing different class. Here in our example I am preparing different columns. So we call this as a equivalence class partition. So entire 80 students I divided into 4 types: column 1, column 2, column 3 and column 4. Means for each column I am considering 20 students. So we call that technique as a equivalence class partition. Are you getting? Okay. Now after equivalence class partition, now I no need to ask each and every one. Again in the class, column 1 I have a 20 students, column 2 I have again 20 students, column 3 20 students, column 4 20 students. So what I will do further, I will use one more technique of black box testing, that is boundary value analysis. Means again no need to ask to each 20 students in each column. What I will do, I will ask to the first row, middle row and last row. That is what I am saying, boundary value analysis. It means if I am going to ask that 20 students in each row, they are sitting in each column, we have a 10 band, and on each band 2 students are sitting. So it means 10 band, no need to ask to each and every one. I'll ask to the first, middle one and last one. That process I am simply calling as a boundary value analysis. Is it clear? Boundary value analysis. Sometimes it is referred as a extreme case testing also. Now next we will focus on the third part called as what? Cause effect graphing. So it is simple technique that combination of input conditions in systematic way. A cause is an input condition and effect is output condition. So cause effect are represented as nodes of cause effect graph, and conditions are either true or false. From cause effect graph, tester must identify different causes and effect. So in 6th or 7th chapter we are going to draw one diagram called as what? Ishikawa diagram or fishbone diagram, where we will try to find out all the problems. That problems will be written at right hand side, and from right hand side to left hand side we will simple draw one line. And suppose I got a problem in the program, and the problem is in the program is the software is not working properly. So one problem I find out, so I will perform the root cause why that problem came into this picture or this software. So I'll moving back towards the left hand side. So this problem may be because of logical error. So first thing I find out as what? Logical error. So finding out the root cause and representing, we call it as what? Ishikawa diagram. So looking towards that Ishikawa diagrams, we can easily find out this cause effect graph. Let's take a simple example. File management. If the character of the first column A or B and the second column is a number, then the line that the entire file is considered as an updated. If the first character is erroneous, print the message as simply xtel, and if the second column is not a number, print the message as x13. So simply we are calling this what? This simple cause effect graphing. Or simply we will consider one more example. ATM machine. You want to withdraw the amount. The amount is in your account, but if you enter the wrong pin, is it possible? No. Means cause, the reason is what? You are not able to get the amount. One of the possible cause is wrong input. So that we will draw in one table, and that table represented in a diagram called as what? Cause effect graph. So this is what the third type of testing as a category of black box testing. So what we covered so far, we are talking about the black box testing. Black box means simply what is inside you don't know. You will just give the input and you will check an output. We call as a black box testing. What are the ways to perform the black box testing, or the methods to perform the black box testing? First we simply call as a equivalence class partition. second is boundary value analysis, and third is cause effect graph. So any doubt so far? Okay, thank you. We will take a pause here. Next lecture we will start with white box testing. Till then, thank you. For any query you can refer my blog to or my further videos. We'll take a pause here. Thank you.